Welcome to our podcast. Today, we're exploring the world of LNG simulator training. It's a topic that's both technical and fascinating.
Absolutely. LNG, or liquefied natural gas, is a complex field, and simulator training seems to be making a huge difference in how professionals are prepared.
Right? I think many people imagine simulators as those you see in flight training. But with LNG, what exactly does a simulator help with?
Well, simulators for LNG operations mimic real-life processes and emergencies. They let trainees practice handling critical situations without any real-world risk.
That's interesting. So it's not just about pushing buttons, but about learning how to react under pressure, right?
Exactly. For example, trainees learn to manage things like cargo transfer and emergency shutdowns. It's hands-on, but in a safe and controlled environment.
I suppose this kind of training is essential because LNG operations involve a lot of potential hazards.
Absolutely. LNG is stored at extremely low temperatures, and mishandling can lead to serious accidents. Simulators help avoid costly mistakes.
Makes sense. Do you think the realism of these simulators can truly prepare someone for the unpredictable nature of real operations?
To a large extent, yes. Modern simulators are incredibly realistic. They replicate everything from control panels to alarms, even the sound of machinery.
That's impressive. I wonder, do trainees ever get too comfortable knowing it's just a simulation?
Sometimes, but good instructors know how to keep the pressure on. They can introduce unexpected scenarios to keep trainees on their toes.
Like tossing in a surprise system failure or a sudden pressure drop?
Exactly. Imagine thinking everything's fine and suddenly alarms blare. It keeps the adrenaline up even if it's not real.
I can imagine. It sounds a bit like playing a high-stakes video game, though with much more at stake.
That's a good comparison. Except in this game, the skills you learn could save lives or prevent disasters.
Speaking of which, do you know how often operators are required to undergo simulator training?
It varies by company and region, but usually it's a regular part of ongoing certification. Annual or even biannual sessions are common.
I guess it's like taking driving lessons even after you've got your license, always refreshing your skills.
Exactly. The industry can't afford complacency. Technology and regulations evolve, so training has to keep up.
How about new recruits versus experienced personnel? Do they both benefit equally from simulator sessions?
Great question. New recruits obviously gain a lot, but even veterans can face scenarios they've never encountered before.
So it's about building muscle memory for rare but critical events, not just the daily routine.
Yes, and also about teamwork. Simulators often involve groups, so communication and coordination are practiced too.
Now that you mention it, LNG operations must require seamless teamwork. One person's mistake could have big consequences.
Absolutely. The simulator helps teams build trust, learn to communicate clearly, and react as a unit.
Do you think simulator training has changed the culture within LNG operations?
I think so. There's a shift from just following procedures to really understanding them. It's less about rote memorization, more about insight.
That's encouraging. It feels like the industry is moving toward a more proactive safety culture.
Definitely. And simulators let people learn from mistakes without real-world consequences.
I wonder if there are any memorable stories from simulator sessions, times when trainees made big mistakes and learned from them.
Oh, plenty. I heard about one trainee who mixed up valves and nearly simulated a major spill. He never forgot that lesson.
Better to make that mistake in a simulator than on an actual LNG vessel?
For sure. That's the whole point. Fail safely, learn deeply, and prevent real accidents.
Are there any limitations to simulator training, though? Things that just can't be replicated?
There are. For example, the emotional stress of a real emergency is hard to imitate. The stakes just feel different when it's real.
I suppose no simulator can fully capture the human factor, fear, adrenaline, panic.
Exactly. But even so, the more you practice, the more confident you become, which helps in real situations.
Does simulator training include technical troubleshooting, like fixing equipment glitches?
Yes, definitely. Trainees might face simulated equipment failures, requiring them to diagnose and fix issues under time pressure.
That must be nerve-wracking, even in a virtual setting.
It is, but it's also empowering. People leave training sessions feeling more capable and ready.
I'm curious, how do instructors assess if someone is truly ready after simulator training?
They look for both technical skill and decision-making. It's not enough to push the right buttons. You have to explain your reasoning.
So it's a bit like a driving test with commentary, showing you know what you're doing and why.
Exactly. Instructors might ask, "Why did you choose that response?" It ensures trainees think critically.
That's reassuring. It's not just about memorizing procedures, but understanding the bigger picture.
Right. Simulators are tools for developing judgment, not just technical skills.
Looking ahead, do you think simulator technology will continue to evolve? Maybe with virtual reality or AI?
Absolutely. VR and AI are starting to make simulators even more immersive and adaptive. The future looks exciting.
Imagine wearing a headset and walking around a virtual LNG terminal, interacting with digital equipment.
It's already happening in some places. The more realistic and interactive, the better the training outcomes.
Do you think there's a risk of over-reliance on technology, though? Could people forget how to improvise?
That's a valid concern. But the best training combines simulation with real-world experience and critical thinking.
So simulators are a powerful tool, but not the only tool in the box.
Exactly. They complement, not replace, hands-on experience.
Any advice for someone about to start LNG simulator training for the first time?
I'd say take it seriously, but don't be afraid to make mistakes. This is the place to learn and experiment.
That's good advice. Better to make all the rookie errors in a simulator than in the field.
Definitely. And ask questions. Instructors are there to help, not judge.
Do you think experienced operators sometimes feel overconfident and underestimate the value of simulator sessions?
Occasionally, yes, but after facing a tough scenario, they often realize there's always something new to learn.
That's probably true for any profession. Complacency is the enemy of safety.
For sure. The best operators are always learning, always improving.
Have you ever tried a simulator yourself?
I actually have. It's surprisingly immersive. Even knowing it's not real, your heart races when alarms go off.
I can imagine. It's like being in the driver's seat of a big, complicated machine with everything on the line.
Exactly. It gives you a real appreciation for the skills involved in LNG operations.
Do you think simulator training could be adapted for other industries, like chemical plants or power stations?
It already is, actually. Anywhere with complex systems and high risks can benefit from this kind of training.
Makes sense. It's about preparing for the unexpected, something we could all use a bit more of.
Absolutely. Being prepared is half the battle.
Before we wrap up, what's the biggest takeaway you've seen from LNG simulator training?
For me, it's the confidence it builds. People come out ready to handle emergencies, not just routine tasks.
That's invaluable. When things go wrong, confidence and preparation make all the difference.
Exactly. And knowing you've practiced every scenario means you're less likely to freeze or panic.
So, if you work in LNG or any high-risk field, simulator training isn't just a box to tick, it's a lifesaver.
Couldn't agree more. It's an investment in safety, skill, and peace of mind.
Well, that brings us to the end of today's episode. We've covered a lot, from the nuts and bolts of simulator training to its impact on safety culture.
It's been a great discussion. I hope our listeners have a new appreciation for what goes on behind the scenes in LNG operations.
Absolutely. And maybe it'll inspire someone to look into simulator training for their own field.
Thanks for tuning in. Until next time, stay curious and stay safe.
See you next time.